So the work is about the idea of immortality, and the twist comes with how you achieve immortality and how that immortality is then becomes a reality. In this case, it is through cellular manipulation. So basically what happened was you can make an immortal cell line out of any cell that has DNA. You do this immortalization of a cell line through oncogenes. So basically you use a vector to insert oncogenes into your cells, and those cells will stop having a watch that tells them when to stop dividing. So these cells will divide forever if you don't stop them mechanically. And this is how you achieve immortality at this level, at this resolution, if you like. I was interested in immortality, I think, because I'm human. I think all humans are somehow interested in the idea of immortality, even if we can't achieve it, or maybe because we cannot achieve it yet. I was interested in the idea of immortality because actually finding out that you can do it at this level, and what does it mean in terms of achieving an immortal cell line made of my own cells and my husband's cells, is very different from achieving the immortality that the human race would want to achieve. It's a different kind of immortality, but it's meaningful exactly because it's a different kind of immortality, because this pursuit that we have of achieving mortality by any means possible is it needs to be thought of, and this is why this is interesting. Well, who would want to be immortal on their own, you know? I think actually almost every book that I read, science fiction and non-fiction, that speaks about immortality always speaks it from a very personal perspective. Especially when you're trying to achieve immortality. You don't do it as a community, you don't do it as more than one. And I always thought, so why would you want to achieve immortality alone? And I decided that who would I want to achieve immortality with? Who would I want to share eternity in a way? And it would be my best friend. In this case, it's my husband. Absolutely. Well, not really, actually. The thing is, you're losing. It is definitely one way of getting immortal, but you are losing some of yourself by doing it as well, because you cannot do spontaneous generation. When you're doing it through your kids, you're leaving something behind, but you're not leaving your whole self behind. In this case, I am not leaving my whole self behind, but I am leaving all of my genetic material behind. And this is the difference. This is the major meaningful difference. With my kids, I'm giving them half of my DNA and I'm mixing it up with my husband's DNA. It is very romantic, but at the same time, you want you to be your whole you immortal. Exactly. So even if even if we're making this piece together, and even if we're actually both achieving immortality at the same time, we can never be really together. Not even at the cellular level, because the cells will kill each other. So, yeah. So the second piece that I have my name tagged to is a piece that my husband and I developed together as well, but it's more his field in a sense. It's called Evolution on a Plate, and it's about evolution in time, and more importantly is about how it's a very Darwinian way of looking at evolution. We don't only look at evolution this way anymore, but it's a very good example of how Darwin understood things. And so in Darwin's view, stress in an environment would bring a mutation and then force evolution forward. And this is very much what Luis did here. So basically it's, and it's a little bit didactic, just like a scientist would put it. So basically you have bacteria. It's the same strand of bacteria. It's not a pathogenic strand of bacteria. But then you have one plate where you have only the bacteria growing, the bacterial cultures, and then you have three plates with the same bacteria growing, but each one has a different kind of antibiotics. And so the cell cultures that will grow there are only the bacteria which have a mutation which makes them resistant to that antibiotic. It's a very Darwinian way of showing evolution at its most forceful. It's really, if you stress the environment, some evolutionary leap will occur. And that's what the piece is about. The exhibition, I am really excited about the exhibition. I think the works are really, really unique and wonderful. I don't know how to say this often enough. They're amazing at how all of the works in the exhibition will give you different perspectives, different experiences, different experiments on the knowledge that we have of time. Time is a mystery. It will still be a mystery after the exhibition. We're not trying to solve any philosophical or scientific questions, but we are trying to become a little bit more familiar with this mystery. I think we achieved that very much. It's interesting to do it in an art exhibition. I think science has been obsessing about time for a long time, and art also touches time and actually thinks about time in so many ways that it became almost we have to do an exhibition on time. We have to bring this theme and this subject forward and actually dedicate some time into thinking about it. And this is what we did together. And so the exhibition brings to the public exactly that, the time that we spent thinking about time and thinking about projects and artworks that give us meanings about time, a variety of meanings. This is the best thing about art, is that you don't have to come up with a law, a universal law, to explain anything. You don't even have to explain anything. So this is why it's interesting to do art in relation to time. You can have a perspective which is based on scientific knowledge, technological knowledge, without trying to understand time or how it works or where it is or what's the definition of time. And this is the dimension that art brings into the subject, which is really important, I think. Of course, together with all the artworks, we have scientific experiments. The artworks will have a lot of scientific content, but they are artworks, and even the scientific experiments will give you not an explanation of what time is, but a feeling of how we look at time. The important link between art and science is actually what I find more interesting in both fields working together. It's the drive to push knowledge forward. We identify with each other mostly in our passionate way of looking at a specific subject. And the attempt to always push what we know and what we can do a little bit further. In art, of course, the knowledge is in its own sphere. It's a very particular type of knowledge, of thinking about knowledge in itself, but we always try to break the boundaries and try to push the knowledge a little bit further. In science, it's done in a different way. So you have very strict methodologies to push the knowledge forward. But again, the objective is always to push the knowledge a little bit further. You want to add to what you already know.